because there was a 9-second spread from fast time to slow time in practice. And that's an obvious sign that some guys were drafting and some guys weren't. Looking down through here, we've got some notable names. Matt Swope, who races in our league. This is only his second race with these guys, qualified 9th. Rick Seabrands, two-time champion, qualified 12th in the number 4 truck. We've got some other good guys in here. A few guys that I noticed aren't here that were here last week. Randy Miner, I'm told, if you were watching the broadcast last week, you'll get a kick out of this. He came on the radio earlier and said he went out and bought some blinker fluid today. So hopefully, hopefully his car won't be blinking tonight. He was having a rough time with his internet connection. Great. Well, I can hear me. I can hear you. We'll go through the starting grid so far. These guys are starting to grid up right now. Got Gary Jenkins, P1, Gabe Butler, P2. Rick McKinney starts the second row with Jimmy Crow. Then Robert DuPont in the 07 with Al Cena in the 85. Tom Dixon in the 411. Dude Conrad in the 8. Then Matt Swope in P9 in the 68 truck. Dean Wilkinson in 10th in the 55 machine. James Mayer in 11th, followed by Rick Seabrands, 12th. Robert Rock in the 171 truck as they start to roll off the grid. You got Sean Stevens in 14th, James Mohan, followed by J.D. Crow, Eric Laurie, Mark Mann, Andy Brigante, and Tony Wright in 20th.
21st looks like we've got Mike Rimkus. 22nd is Jack Walls. 23rd, David Overstreet. 24th is Jorge Rincon. 25th is Jimmy Crawford. 26th, Marco Berube. 27th, Brian Wang. 28th, Sebastian Marin. 29th, Kevin Fries. 30th, Seth Groover. 31st, Zachary Workman. He's starting in the back, and he was our winner last week. Brian Rainville, 32nd. Tracy Weaver, 33rd. Richard Sanchez is in 34th. In 35th, Randy Miner. 36th, James Peterson. 37th, Edward Fielder. 38th, Todd Siebels. And 39th, David Bond.
Yeah, everybody from Sebastian Marin in P28, everybody from there on back elected to not qualify and start at the rear. They either know something we don't know and want to stay out of trouble, or just trying to be sensible and get off to an easy start. This is a long enough race, 77 laps. That's a total of about 204 miles, if my math is correct. And these guys have to pace themselves. It's not, you don't win it on the first lap, but you can lose it on the first lap.
So just to recoup, this is the IWM Broadcast Network. We're about to go green here. I'm Rick Souza. I've got Jeff Needy in the booth. And we are here to broadcast the Super Speedway Kings here at Talladega. And the pace car has dropped off the track.
Guys will be coming up, waiting for the green flag on this first start, and then they'll use the Geico restart zone on every start after that. There's the green flag.
Green flag has dropped, and we are underway here at Talladega.
Good, clean start. Everybody got rolling well and staying in line so far. Just keep those two lines going until everybody gets up to speed, and then we'll see some jockeying for position.
Good nose-to-tail racing here. You've got the 90 of Gary Jenkins leading us down, followed by the 88 on the outside with Gabe Butler. Jimmy Crow is behind Gabe, and we're beginning to see the formation of an outside line going 3 wide starting already here at Talladega. We are not even out of our... Oh, we got a wreck already. The 99.
Upside down. It didn't take him long to get 3 wide, did it?
That's unfortunate. That is unfortunate. Yep.
I couldn't see what number that was.
So the car I saw upside down was Marco Berube. Let's see if we can take a... Oh, yeah, he was definitely... Let's back that up just a little bit. Looks like the 13. We'll step through this. Yep. Let's back that up a bit, and let's pick another camera here. Try to focus on that 13 car. That's Andy Brigant. He was getting a push by the 50, the 23, which is...
Yeah. That's Sebastian Marin.
Looks like he got a little help.
Yes, he did.
Unfortunately, took out the 99 in a, frankly, a spectacular fashion.
Boy, 58 just made it through there clean.
So to the rest of the field, we've got 39 competitors here tonight. So having a wreck like that mid-pack, we'll take it.
Pace car is back on the track and has gathered up the field. Some guys already ducking for pit road. Guys,
yeah, I think it's
back, topping off on fuel, you think?
Absolutely, yeah, 100%. All right, so let's look a little bit, see what the race information is while we have this break in action. Let's see where we are weather-wise and what's happening. So it looks to be that we've got a relatively cool night, and it is a cool night here in the south. It is 65 degrees ambient and 67 degrees on the track. Again, this is Talladega, so that's 2.65 miles around this track. We've got these drivers do have 2 quick repairs, so those guys who were involved in that incident can go in and get their repairs made, and they can get a new truck if need be. So.
Yeah, very little wind tonight, which is nice on a super speedway. You don't want to be going into the turn, fighting the air off the truck in front of you, and then get a good side blast of wind at the same time.
Absolutely not, especially the way these guys run.
Yeah. They do a great job at being nose to tail, staying tight, keeping their lines going, and that no wind tonight is going to be a blessing to some of these guys.
Well, I'm sure this is just as you know, first lap jitters, and they'll settle down, and we'll see how this all plays out.
Looks like Gary Jenkins still the control car, so he'll bring them back to the green here shortly.
And he has that option at the Geico restart zone if he wants to jump out to a little bit of an edge, he can do that. But you know, with the way these super speedways, I'm not really sure just how much of an advantage that really gives you.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I agree. Jimmy Crow is telling his guys out there that hey, we need to do a little better than this. Thanks for owning up to it, but let's try to do a better job. I think he would be very happy if we went caution-free the rest of the race.
he certainly would. You know, Jimmy prides himself on the caliber of drivers in this league, and we've certainly seen that from our first broadcast last weekend. This season, just fabulous driving. So.
Yeah, it was fun. The very first time that I saw these guys, and I think it was the first time for you, was when they were running the ARCA cars in a practice race. And I can remember thinking, man, these guys know how to drive super speedways. So to see them out here in these trucks for the last 2 weeks this season, It's been a real treat.
It sure has. It sure has.
On lap 2.
It looks like from the documentation we have, it's nearly half the field.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, so the pace car is down.
Coming up on that Geico restart zone.
In the zone now.
There we go.
We are underway.
Gabe Butler out there on the outside got a good restart. He's pulled a little bit ahead of Gary Jenkins.
He's got the 07 behind him. That's Robert Dupont III.
That second lane is staying pretty well organized on this first lap after the restart.
And we're already seeing the formation of that third lane, and we have not crossed the stripe. Having a little bit of flashback from that last lap. So here we are. We are back to green flag racing, and then we are now 3 wide here at Talladega. Yeah, that outside lane's only got a few drivers. That's the 411 of Tom Dixon, who's leading that outside lane.
They're making a little bit of progress, though. They got a run coming up there.
Well, they got some more cars. There's now
they got 6 cars in
7.
that line.
I think the 88 of Gabe Butler said, you know what? I'm going to take the load. He dropped out of that middle and dropped it right down to the low line.
Yep. He likes the look of that first line. And it's working for him. They are pulling ahead a little bit of the center and the outside lane.
This is some great Talladega racing, folks. You've got some great lines for them. We've got 3 wide here. You know, with anything, this is a race of 77 laps where you're just about 10% in. And you know what? You've got to bide your time. You're not going to win this on lap 7. So you've really got to get in line, find your spot, find your groove, what lane works best for you, and stick with it.
That third lane had the edge there for a little bit. He was out in front, but now Gabe Butler's come back, getting that good push from Gary Jenkins in the 90 truck. Boy, they're just kind of trading that lead back and forth on that front row.
I think all things being equal, if you've got drivers nose to tail like you're seeing there, it's going to be pretty much neck and neck all the way around. You've got 3. Each of those lanes are being run by a guy who knows how to hold the line, followed by a guy who knows how to, if he isn't pushing, he's definitely right there on his bumper.
There, Robert Dupont moved down in front. Came in off the nose of Gabe Butler and took over the lead there.
He sure did. So we've got 3 lanes here at nearly 200 miles an hour at Talladega with the Superspeedway Kings just putting on a clinic on how to draft and run nose to tail here at Dega.
It is tougher than it looks. When you're looking up here from up high, it looks like it's pretty easy. They've got, 4 or 5 feet in between the cars, but there are times that all of a sudden that's down to 6 inches between the cars and they're moving back and forth, and it takes a pretty steady hand to be able to stay in line, not get slingshot back and forth, and not get fixated on that bumper in front of you and try too hard to stay behind it. But I know I've seen myself do this. When that car in front of you goes one direction, you tend to follow it, and then all of a sudden you're just chasing each other back and forth.
Well, speaking of that, why don't we go on board with the 68. 82 of it's 68 on our board, 82 on the truck of Matt Swoop. Just to give you an inside baseball here, inside racing. You see just what this driver is seeing out of his front windshield. You can tell these guys are, there's not a lot of room, lane side to side, lane to lane, and for that matter, not a lot of space in between you and the car in front. Your margin of error is fairly skinny here.
It really is. You can really see the talent these guys show from these in-car cameras. You can see how tight things are, how steady they have to be. You can see he's just making minute changes with that wheel. And the air is moving the truck more than he is. He's just reacting to the air pushing him one direction or another to try to keep it straight and in line.
Well, that's lap 11 of a scheduled 77 here at Talladega with the Superspeedway Kings.
Coming up on a lap car here, and he's getting down on the apron to let everybody by.
That's a great example of the sportsmanship that we see in this league. And again, it's a long race. So if you got to get down on the apron before you come up and work to blend in to these cars, that's what you got to do instead of trying to force your way in or force your way up.
Yeah, how many of us here and that are listening and watching the broadcast tonight, how many of us have been in an official race where that doesn't happen? Somebody just tries to force their way back up in because they don't want to lose a spot.
So if this is your first time tuning into iRacing and into a broadcast such as this, so we've got 39 entries on the track. Each one of these cars is piloted by just an individual, just like you and I, who are at home. They've got their driving rig, and as you saw earlier, what they see is just what you would see if you were driving a car itself. And frankly, if you look and you're a fan of NASCAR and you tune in to Race for the Championship or some of these other shows that are about drivers, you'll see them using iRacing as a way to learn and to hone their skills, maybe to learn a track they're not familiar with. It was pretty interesting in talking and hearing from other drivers, real NASCAR drivers, who at the start of the season, they had it at the LA Coliseum. They'd never raced there before. A lot of these guys got in iRacing rigs and they drove their car, their simulator, just to try to feel out what that track was like. So same thing here.
Boy, you're right, Rick. It is so lifelike and so realistic. I had some friends back in 2020 when we were all shut down with COVID and NASCAR was shut down, and they came up with the idea of the NASCAR drivers racing via iRacing and broadcasting it. And man, I just enjoyed those races so much.
It was crazy.
Not only got to see what looked like real racing on TV, but then you got to see those behind-the-scenes shots where Denny Hamlin's little girl shut his monitors off in the middle of the race and things like that. I had friends that I watched the race with, and they did not believe me that it was iRacing. They thought it was real.
It was pretty wild. And I think that was at that race, the first race, where you saw some drivers' tempers flare, and they were, when they cut to their rigs and they were throwing their headsets, and it's just really amazing. It's a great platform. Yeah. I mean, we've seen Dale Jr. is involved in iRacing, and that's his insistence brought North Wilkesboro to iRacing, and then frankly that's what brought the NASCAR back to North Wilkesboro.
Yeah, that's an interesting story. I wish we had enough time to explore that, but they modeled that track on iRacing before they ever put the pavement down. So that was an interesting. It's like which came first, the cart or the horse?
Are you talking about the LA Coliseum?
No, I was talking about North Wilkesboro when they.
Yeah, they actually just revived the original pavement. They didn't repave it, but
that's right.
But they just cleaned it up.
Did. Yeah.
Yeah. Someone needs to gold plate that weed eater.
They modeled it on iRacing, the whole facility before they did a lot of the work on it. We all got to race on it early on, so that was a real treat to be able to do that.
So here we are on lap 17 back of the stripe. Robert DuPont the third leads us. We got Gabe Butler, Sean Stevens, Gary Jenkins, Tony Wright, Tom Dixon, Rich McKinney, Rich Sanchez, James Mohan, Al Cena. All those, that's your top 10 out there right now. But because they are 3 wide, it's anybody's race.
Well, that is the truth. You can go from hero to GOAT pretty quickly here. Robert DuPont's been holding that lead for quite a while now.
Well, he's got that 88 behind him of Gabe Butler right on his bumper, and he's kept him just ahead all the way around.
Yeah, these guys are smart. They know it doesn't do them any good to get into a sticky situation trying to move up to the lead right now. Just stay where you are, keep your cars out in front, and they're doing a great job.
And that's a great view there of these drivers. And now with a little bit of help from the 90, they've really begun to push their way ahead of those middle and outside lines.
Yeah, it's interesting. Robert DuPont is in first place right now, but last week he finished last. He ended up being 44 laps down, got taken out early, had to use up his quick repairs, and so didn't have quite the luck last week that he's starting off with this week.
Yeah, we definitely had a few more incidents than the league would like, but first race of the season, a little bit first race jitters. We are back to some amazing side-by-side racing here at Talladega.
That third line has dropped back a little bit, but now as soon as I say that, they start moving forward. They're starting to catch up. I don't know if it's people don't like running the wall or what, but they just don't seem to attract as many trucks up in that outside line. It's tough to keep up when you're trying to do it with just 2 or 3. Now they've got almost 4 in that lead pack.
I think it's just the skill. You've raced this before, Jeff, as have I, and the folks that we race with. Running at that outside wall, it takes that much more concentration. You're constantly facing that wall right there in your peripheral vision.
Yeah, it does, and that wall doesn't move. The truck below you can move a little bit if you get too close, but that wall's not going to do it. He'll just reach out and bite you.
We can jump in with James Mohan in the 48. His car paint actually is the 7, but we can take a look and see just what he's seeing on that outside wall. So the outside lane is definitely falling back a bit, and there's some shuffling going on as some drivers have moved up and moved back. It's a handful running on that in that outside lane. And I think James decided, I'm done with that outside lane, and he moved right down.
Yeah, He's been running some decent lap times too. He's sixth fastest today with a 51 flat almost, and doing pretty good. His last lap was a 51.8, so there is a little bit of fluctuation there, but boy, that's to be expected as you pick up a run sometimes, and then other times you get bogged down.
Well, you can see that outside line has fallen apart, and now we've got one driver pretty much all by his lonesome.
Yeah.
I think that's a 21 of Tony Wright, but no, Tony's down low. That's the 60. That's
Boy,
Brian Rainville.
Second line is becoming very disorganized too. You got about 5-6 cars up front, and then everybody falls way back.
Well, if you're just tuning in, you're watching the Superspeedway Kings live from Talladega. I'm your host, Rick Sousa, and I've got Jeff Needy in the booth, and we are bringing you here on the IWM Broadcast Network. So we're 22 laps in, 23 laps at the stripe. We've got a number of drivers who have now come in and come down pit road. All of our leaders now are coming down pit road, and about half the field is now in for fuel. Looks like Robert's taking some tires.
Good race off of pit road here. These guys realize how smart it is to pit as a pack. This will be interesting because the other pack's going to catch them right about the blend line.
Yep, and I'm expecting that other pack will probably decide to move in. Now, interestingly enough, that other pack that stayed out are the guys who came in earlier on lap 2 and 3 in that first caution, and they topped off for fuel. So they've got 2 or 3 more laps of fuel on board.
Sebastian Marin is up front in that P1 position right now. Interesting story about him last week. He couldn't make the race because he lives in Puerto Rico and his island was being hit by a hurricane. And so he lost power, lost internet, and was not able to be with us last week. But here he is running up towards the front of the field this week.
So we got a number of drivers now who have taken this opportunity to come down pit lane.
Yeah, I see 7 drivers right there.
Yep.
Boy, this guy's got to run the Yeti truck.
Yeah, that's Rick Seabrans in the 04.
A good push there from the 95, James Mayer.
So we're expecting to see the that this group, that's Rick Seabrans, James Mayer, Sebastian Marin, Eric Laurie, Mark Mann, Zach Workman, Todd Siebels, those guys. And yeah, here we go. They're now also, it's their time on pit lane. So as the field begins to make their shuffle down onto pit road, nearly everybody has come in, coming up to lap, this is lap 26. We'll begin to see the rest. I think we've only got about 5 drivers who stayed out, and I expect to see them, if not this lap, it'll be next lap for sure. I'm actually thinking this group is this lap. So.
Yeah, Rick Seabrans in the 4 truck there. He's got 23 laps since he last pitted. So he was in that first group that just went in and topped off, like you mentioned earlier. So you're right. They've got to be, there they go, breaking off, hitting ready to hit pit road.
Oh, he just got it slowed down. Hopefully he avoided a speeding penalty there.
Yeah, you may want to take tires after that. Yeah, I saw a little smoke coming there. iRacing doesn't show us the pit crew members, but you can tell if the truck gets jacked up or not. He took right sides, and he's still there. So, oh, no, there he goes. Nice race off pit road between those guys.
All right, so the field has been shuffled, and we've got some a new order. They're about to get run over by the field, and I'm sure they'll just join it at the tail end. It's a little hairy.
Oh boy, they're making their way out there.
That's pretty impressive.
I am amazed that the 95 and the 4 were able to get back out in front.
Well, they timed that perfectly. All right, we are at lap 28 now. Here with the Superspeedway Kings at Talladega, your current leader, James Marin.
A little over a third of the way through this race. We've had one green flag pit stop for everybody. Get fuel. Some guys took tires, some guys didn't.
I say for the most part, those pit stops were somewhere between 12. Whoa.
Boy,
that was
I don't
close.
know how he saved that truck, but that was some good driving there. He had that thing sideways.
So most of those pit stops were between 12 and 13 seconds. That's enough time to fuel your tank, and also, if you choose to take right side tires.
95's back out front. The 071 of Lori is bouncing back and forth. First he's up there, then he's not. He doesn't have enough help behind him. You can see people have bailed out of that middle line, gone to the outside line.
That's kind of a blended mix here. It was 2 lines, it was 3. Second line's now formed up more. And now after that round of pit stops, our field is beginning to stretch out. So now we've got some packs forming a little farther back, but with this car and the right bit of work together, any one of those groups of cars further on back can catch back up to the main pack.
And that's the big challenge, is getting those guys to all work together, to bunch up tight and just stay in formation until they can get their way back up to that lead pack.
Speaking of lead, we just saw a change of lead by Sebastian Marin, who now jumps out on leading the low line. He's being battled by the 071 of Eric Laurie, who is currently leading the middle pack in that middle line.
In on some of the drivers, when you're in the pack, you can run 3/4 throttle and still keep up with everybody, because you have someone in front of you pushing out the air. That guy up front, he's got to keep his foot buried that entire time, and then he starts using more fuel, and that could come into play later on.
So we saw laps around lap 25. We saw pit stops at lap 25. Those who didn't stop or tank who did not top off fuel were in at lap 24. Those who did top off came in around lap 26. So the earliest we should see them come back in is 22 laps.
40, yeah, lap 46, so 8, roughly.
9,
45, 46.
Yeah, another 12 laps from now, so 44.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a group that came in around lap 22. some at 23, 24, 25, 26. So a good blend of drivers. So we should see a round of green flag pit stops in about 12 laps.
It'll be interesting too, because some of those guys that pitted early are undoubtedly in the center or outside line, and it's very difficult to pit from there. So they're going to have to work their way into that bottom groove and find a way to get down there and do it early enough that they don't get hung out to dry and run out of fuel.
Absolutely. So if you're just tuning in, this is the Superspeedway Kings at Talladega, being brought to you by the IWM Broadcast Network. I'm Rick Souza, and I've got my co-host Jeff Needy. We're here in the booth bringing you this fabulous race. If you like plate racing, this is the league for you to watch. We're here every Tuesday night. We're bringing you Talladega and Daytona. That's all these guys run, and they're bringing you the thrills and chills of plate racing here on iRacing.
We've had a really clean race tonight too. We had that one yellow flag at the
oh, you're not going to jinx it for him, are you?
Lap 1, and they've been green the whole time, and it's been a great example of how you drive these super speedways. And I think it's maybe, I don't know if I want to use the word easier, but you can do it on Talladega. It's not quite as critical to have a good handling truck, but you've got to have a really fast truck. You've got to be able to cut through that air. You got to be able to push, and you have to be able to be pushed if you want to be successful.
So you're definitely seeing some good examples of that. That 23 has got a good pusher behind him right now with James Marin. And he's pushed him right back to the lead.
James has been a good pusher all night. He was pushing the 90 car earlier. I think he was pushing the 4 for a little while. Whoops. He got bailed on there. Guys jumped into the middle lane, and they're pulling out in front of him now. It'll be interesting to see if they cut back down. Yep, there he goes.
So part of this is definitely strategy. If you move up to the, if you think the outside or the middle lane's going to get a run on you, you can try to block and carefully, of course, to kind of break or impact their aerodynamics, whether that's side drafting or jumping up and slowing them down. There's certainly some gamesmanship that happens here, and at this speed, 186, 190 miles an hour, the margin of error is even slimmer.
The speedway racing is really interesting because you can't do it without friends. If you're out there on an island, you're just going to go to the back. You've got to have people that are willing to push you, that trust you, and you have to trust those people that are pushing you, and trust that they're going to take care of you, at least to a certain degree. It's you get close to the end of the race, it'll be every man for himself. But right now, these guys are working hard to help each other, and by doing that, help themselves.
Yeah, you absolutely need as many friends as you can, and frankly, when it comes down to pit stops, it's the same way. You can't pit by yourself. You need a buddy or 2 or 3 when you go down there to try and make sure that you can come back up to race speed. Because if you think back to what we were qualifying at, you know, we were qualifying at 54.99, I think was the pole. But, you know, here as we're pack racing, that speed is 50.99. So there's 4-second difference between what was pole speed and what is lap speed here in the race.
Just a few seconds ago, Dude Conrad was up there in the 3rd line, and you saw him come down to the middle, and it looked for a moment like he was going to try to get the whole way down to the inside line, but that line had a bit of a run, and he wisely stopped his move and came back and settled in that center line.
So you're seeing the 8 of Dude Conrad right now running in that Yorkville black and white truck, leading the middle lane. He's got the 95 of James Marin behind him. James has found himself in that spot with multiple drivers.
Yep,
An outside lane with the 25 of Kevin Freeze. followed by the 60 of Brian Rainville, are trying to get that third lane to work. Yep, you saw
Dude just came down.
He sure did.
Came down to that inside line, picked up Sebastian to give him a push.
Behind Sebastian is the 69 of Brian Wang. So that's lap 38 of our 77 scheduled here at Talladega. Just want to take this moment to thank our sponsors, Wow Video Tours, Over the Top Graphics, and Fort Worth Screen Printing. Without our sponsors, races like this and leagues like this can't happen. So we thank you to our sponsors for your sponsorship of this league and these races.
Yeah, that 88 truck of Gabe Butler, he's been hanging back. He's running in the 17th spot right now. I think he's just trying to bide his time. He's past winner, past season champion, and it looks like he's just kind of playing it easy. Not going to get into something where there's a lot of movement around him. Just being smart, riding that inside line and taking care of his stuff.
I think there's a lot to be said. You can't, we said it earlier, we're just past halfway here at this race. It's still, no matter where you are in this pack, it's still your race.
Absolutely. Lap 40, we've still got 37 laps to go. And you're right, any one of these guys could all of a sudden start making moves. So I think we'll see some of that probably in another 15 laps or so. You're going to see that tempo increase and guys start to move around a little bit more. You'll see that third line come and go, and it'll be a fun race as we get closer to the end. Matt Swope has made his way up into the 8th spot. This is only his second time ever to run with these guys. So he's been doing a good job of staying up in there. Got Dude Conrad in the front, and James Mayer, Sebastian Marin, Rick Seabrans, and Brian Wang. That's your top 5, kind of, but they change places so often. It's tough to keep up. I'm glad we got computer scoring so that we know who's where.
Yeah, with the fact that there's 3 lanes happening, it's anybody's guess as to where your position is. So we try to follow it, do our best to keep you up to date as who's leading what, but it all is going to come down to lap 77.
That's right. That is right. James Mayer had a run going, but get into the turn, he starts slipping back just a little bit.
And that's really a function of the person who's pushing you. If that person is right behind you, is tucked up underneath of folks who will be coming down pit road as well as we go through the next cycle of pit stops here at Talladega.
This group exiting the pits, headed for the blend line, and they're going to get back out clean, it looks like.
Seeing another group of guys coming in. This is Dude Conrad, Jack Walls, Kevin Fries, Matt Swope, Dean Wilkinson, Sean Stevens, Brian Rainville is in this group, Randy Miner, David Bond. Also, you saw Edward Fielder and Marco Barabee also part of this as well. We'll see how these guys will come out. We'll jump back up to our current leaders, which is Sebastian Marin. definitely a couple more guys who are taking that opportunity. Come down pit road. That's Seth Groover, Robert Rock, Todd Siebels. Those guys are now all on pit road.
Interesting, Rick Sebring, Sebastian Marin has been up there in the lead for a while, bouncing back and forth. But I was talking with one of the drivers before the race and asked him who he thought was the favorite tonight. And he said the 23 truck of Sebastian Marin. Said he's hungry. He missed it last week, and he's wanting to get a win tonight. You can see the overtake difference on that shot. It's amazing. Group that's running in a pack, and look how fast they'll blow by this single truck.
All right, so you've got a number of guys who are now dropped off of the racing surface. That's Sebastian Marin, Brian Wang, Eric Laurie. Those three have come in together. And that being said, that leaves just 5 who have not pitted.
That leaves James Mayer in the 95 truck out in the lead.
It sure does.
Sebrans working together.
Zachary Workman, Mark Mann, and David Overstreet. This is the pack that we're expecting to see them down on pit road. Probably next time by.
Yeah, coming up to 30 laps to go this time around. So things will start heating up. These guys trying to get slowed down to get onto pit road at the speed limit. Everybody did a good job there.
Well, current speed limit on Talladega is 55 miles an hour, right? So that's
think about that. You're doing about 185, 187, and all of a sudden you got to whoa it up to 55. That's like night and day.
I just jumped.
Like you're crawling.
We just highlighted Dean Wilkinson. Pack he is running with Jack Wells, Kevin Freeze, Jude Conrad. Their speed's over 192 miles an hour.
Well, these guys did it again so far. Let's see if I don't think they're going to get caught. Rick Sebrans came and James Mayer came out 1-2. Great job keeping their positions, even with the green flag pit stop.
They're already back on the racing surface. Here comes that outside line.
Around them, though.
It's close.
Yeah, they had a big head of steam, and it takes a little while to get these cars back up to speed. You're going fast, but you're not going as fast as those cars that have been making lap after lap.
So this is lap 48 of 77. We just saw our second round of pit stops. I don't know if that's the last pit stop, Jeff. I'm just not sure. I'm not sure that can they make it. I don't think they can.
Yeah, I don't think they can either. I think they're going to have to come in at some point and top off. I doubt anybody will take tires on that one, but you never know. But I think you're right. I think they're going to have to come in and top off one more time.
So with that being the case, they'll probably go as far as they can. Everybody's going to come back in. No one can be out there all this time. So if we assume that was that last time of 24 laps?
I think they can run until that first group, until there's about 10 laps to go. It'll be interesting to see if that third group that got a few more laps can make it or not. I think they're going to be really close, but those first two groups are absolutely going to have to stop.
So the question is, do you do it early when you just have enough space in your tank to come in, take enough fuel to finish the race, maybe enough in case there happens to be a green-white checker? Or do you wait it out till you're nearly bone dry, hoping for a caution?
Yeah, that's the big question. I think a lot of them will take the risk and hope for a caution and wait it out. I don't know. It's strategy, and there's going to be several different ones playing out as we get close to the end of this race.
Well, I'm sure that's the discussion in the team rooms. You know, there's a lot of part of what we do here, and part of each league is different. But certainly this league is not much different than what you see every Sunday watching NASCAR, and that is you have teams like Hendrick Motorsports and Stuart Haas and Joe Gibbs Racing, and especially on super speedways, if guys are running together, you don't really know who your teams are. Sometimes it winds up being manufacturers. All the Toyotas will pit together and the Chevys will pit together, but if it's not manufacturer, it certainly is teams, because as Jeff had alluded to earlier, you can't do it by yourself. You can't go into the pits with a single car, get what you need to, and then come back at race speed. You're going to be run over, and you'll relegate yourself to the back of the pack.
That's right, and they've got several teams out here, and some of these teams are large, like TW Motorsports. They've got 5 drivers out here tonight. Bootnaka, that's a great name. They've got 7 or 8 drivers on their team. So these guys are all going to be looking out for each other. They're going to be helping one another and trying to draft with one another. And if they get with their buddies, then look out. They'll stick together.
Yeah, all bets are off when it comes down to that checkered flag. But until that point, it's all teamwork all the time.
Yep. I thought the Ford truck of Rick Sebrin's was going to hang out in the middle there for a little while and try to conserve fuel, because he's one of those ones that pitted on the last group and possibly could have made it. I still think he probably couldn't, but I thought that he might hang back to try to conserve fuel and see if he could. But no, he's out there leading that center line as it comes up through, getting a good push off the 55.
Yeah, I'm just not sure that there's any way to conserve enough fuel to make it all the way. Now, I will say that we have 25 laps to go. You could gamble and assume that there's not going to be a green-white checker at the end, so that would tack a need to have 3 more laps. But I think it's all bets are off. Once we hit 20 laps to go, then we should begin to see pit stops.
I think you're right. That first green flag pit stop was at lap 23. So we know that that's probably maybe not the furthest they can go, but they're getting pretty slim on fuel about that time. So, and those guys pitted at lap 44. So probably lap 67, I'm guessing, is when we'll see them starting to come in.
And that's certainly one option, that is to wait till your tank is dry, come back in, waiting out, hoping that a caution will show. But here we are with 24 laps to go, and we've had 2 cautions.
Just one.
One.
Just that first one.
That's right.
On lap 1.
That's right. So we've had that 1 caution, lap 1. So that's a risky approach. If you do pit early, come down after 20 or so with 20 laps to go, then you have more opportunity to cycle yourself back up through the field as others begin to come down. Because you know one thing, nobody can make it by themselves. You're watching the 33 car down on the apron, to 33 or 23.
Yeah, good driving by that guy to get his truck down out of the way, not mess with. He's not in contention for the lead, so why mess it up for the people that are? I love to see guys that drive with that kind of courtesy. Everybody wants to win, but if you don't have a chance to win, don't go messing somebody else's race up. That was a good job by the 23, I think you said it was.
Or the 13.
13.
So looking back, not everybody runs at that front of the pack. You're looking back here at another pack of guys. That's the 13 of Andy Briganti, David Bond. Oh, that 60 was very loose.
Yeah, somebody takes the air off that spoiler, and the back of that truck gets light and real fast.
Well, back up front, we've now seen Dean Wilkinson move up, leading that middle line. He is definitely challenging Rick Seabrans as these two lines battle for dominance here with 21 laps to go.
That's a great shot right there, showing how those two cars, one time the inside lane has the run, and then the middle lane will get the run. It's just back and forth. Seems like on the corners, that inside line gets just a little bit more of a run, and I don't know if it's because it's just a fraction less distance, but that's where they seem to be able to make up ground, and then they get in the straightaway, and the outside line pulls ahead. You can see them going up now on the short straight there.
All right, 20 laps to go, and I'm betting that now we're going to see some strategy happen going over the next few laps when it comes to refueling.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think Rick Seabrans and James Mayer and that group that pitted last, I mean, that's been their strategy all race, is to let these other guys pit first.
So we saw Jamie Crawford and David Bond in. Now here we
They
go.
go. Big group going in. Whoa, somebody got that inside wall trying to get slowed down.
They did. Big pack of cars. And that's the strategy here, guys. This is about coming in, pitting when you've got just enough room in your tank to so you've got enough fuel to get back to it and be able to finish the race. All right, now we're seeing that pack of cars are back out on the track.
That left the 55 of Dean Wilkinson in the lead. Pretty much everybody running. Oh, there go a few more cars. Oh, look at that. Rick Seabrans is going in now with the second group. Oh, a couple trucks spinning. Oh, and Rick did too.
Caution's out.
Oh, that's why. Yeah, the caution came out right before he crossed pit road. He got back out on the track, got sideways through the grass, but was able to stay back out, on the racing surface, and
let's go back and see just what happened with the 21.
Oh,
yep.
Right there. Yep.
Yep, that's exactly it. So, as we talked about earlier, that transition from 190 miles an hour down to 55 is challenging. Usually drivers will call out whether they're going low or high as they enter onto pit road. It's easy to make a mistake, and I think that's what we're seeing here.
It really is, and you get a little bit, your car changes balance when you go below that yellow line. The banking changes, and it can throw you if you're not ready for it. So there the yellow comes out, and you'll see Rick here in that blue truck all of a sudden turn hard right and go right across the grass.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of damaged cars here. There's the 4 car going through the grass.
Rick and Dean both on pit road now, coming in for their chance to top off, have enough fuel to make it to the end. And they're still running close to the front. We'll see where everything shakes out after these pit stops and trucks that have to come in. Yeah, it looks like they're going to be in the middle of the pack now.
Well, this is completely going to change the field. So we had a first round of pit stops, the last round of pit stops for a number of drivers who came in. Then the incident happened as part of another group of drivers coming in, is that's going to completely change the complexion of this race.
Yeah, it really is. That's a tough break for those guys. If that caution would have come out a little bit earlier, it couldn't have because it was the pit strategy that caused it. But if it would have come out earlier, they wouldn't have slowed down to nearly pit road speed before trying to speed back up. And man, you're at a 80, 90 mile an hour disadvantage right there. So they're going to drop spots.
All right, so we are at Talladega with the Superspeedway Kings. 17 laps to go. By the time we go back to green, 15 laps to go. We've just had our second incident of the evening as part of our round of pit stops here with some of the leaders. Us on whichever platform you are following, whether that's Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, so you can be notified of future races here with the Superspeedway Kings. We also have on Wednesday night the iRacing Warrior Motorsports Cup Series, and we'll broadcast them each and every Wednesday night through till December. So we ask you to like and follow and get notified for that as well. So we're glad you're here with us, and stay tuned. We've got an exciting 16 laps to go.
Yeah, we had Gabe Butler and Robert DuPont in those two trucks that were sitting there waiting for the wave around. So they were out in front of the leaders, about to lose a lap, but fortunately they were able to take the wave around. They'll come around and catch up to the end of the field. Though they'll be still on the lead lap by the time they get around there.
All right, the lights are off on the pace car, which means only one thing, and that means next time we are back to green flag racing. Our control car, Sebastian Marin in the 23. He will be able to, once he enters that Geico restart zone, he can choose to go or wait till the flag comes out. It's up to him. He's in charge.
It's going to be an interesting situation, too, because he's got the 25 truck of Kevin Freeze up there right behind him to push him. But I don't remember them running together at all tonight. So this will be a new experience for both of them. Having Brian give Sebastian a push on this restart. Hopefully they can hang in there and do a good job of getting that pulled off as the pace car comes off.
So I believe that Brian Wang on the outside also happens to be a teammate of Sebastian Marin, and we'll begin to see some of that teamwork impact here showing itself. So
yeah, it'd be interesting to see if he eases up on the start and lets him go and come down in front of him.
Kevin Freeze in that 25 is also a teammate of Sebastian Marin, so that's a positive, having your teammate behind you.
Yep.
Well, we are back under green here at Talladega for what could be, and we'll see how it all plays out, for the exciting finish of the Superspeedway Kings. Second race of the season.
15 laps to go. Everybody has enough fuel to make it. And Sebastian Marin got a good jump on the field with Kevin giving him a good push there in that 25 truck.
3 wide here at Talladega. And here's where things just get a little bit more challenging.
Oh yeah, that's that second row doing a lot of juking and jiving, trying to decide, do I go up to the third line? Do I stay here? You see a lot more movement in these lines now than we saw early in the race.
Well, and this is it, because you've got 14 laps to go. You're coming down to the last 10 laps of the race. Everybody has either full tires and fuel or enough to make it, and now it's all about position. I move up front? Can I make a change? Can I swap a line? What can I do to get to that next level? And begin like a chess piece, begin to move farther and farther up. Of course, you're doing it at 190 miles per hour, and you're trying to avoid wrecking your truck.
Yeah, now the 48 of Mohan moves up front. It says 7 on the side of the truck, but computer scoring has him as the 48. So now that's get into the corner, and that center line drops off just a little bit. But that third line, it's starting to get organized, and it's going to start coming in. Yep, you can see those guys gaining on that middle ground or middle row now.
I think if these lines are organized, it's anybody's race.
'39 of Jimmy Crow leading that third line, followed there by Dean Wilkinson, who was in the lead a while ago, but he's up front still, giving push to that 39 truck.
12 laps left to go here at Talladega with the Superspeedway Kings. And Kings they are. We're seeing some fabulous 3-wide racing, drafting, pushing in these trucks.
This is some of the most exciting racing that you'll see here on any of the iRacing broadcasts. These guys know how to drive super speedways. That's what this league is all about, super speedway racing. And they are putting on a show for the crowd tonight.
They absolutely are. So it looks like that outside line is falling back just a tad. That lower line is definitely staying formed together, led by the 23 of Marin, followed closely by his teammate, the 25 of Freeze. If you could, oh, whoa, there's a wreck happening back in the field. So bring out the caution. Yes, it does.
Yes.
Saw a number of drivers involved in this.
Yeah, I couldn't see that on either of my screens. Couldn't tell what happened, but must have been back in the field a little ways.
Let's go back and take a look at Randy Minor.
I know George or Jorge Rincon was involved.
Yeah, it's definitely happening up a little bit farther in the field. We'll just kind of continue here. Yeah, that's the 411 car.
Looks like he had a little help.
He did. That's Tom Dixon. Looks like he had a little help from Groover, I think in the 02. Unfortunately, he's come back up, and that takes out the number of cars, and you're seeing it as we're seeing it.
Wow, man,
Yeah.
they just that's the big one there.
Well,
they start just everybody piling in.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because it was pretty much everybody past the top 15 cars were involved in this incident.
Ooh,
like
27.
Yeah.
Wrong place, wrong time
Wrong
there.
time. Yeah. All right, so we'll see a number of those cars on pit road, probably go down to get their damage repaired, come back out. 10 laps to go.
Yep. A lot of cars heading for pit road.
Yeah.
But fortunately, it's a yellow flag, so they'll be, if they don't have too much damage, they'll be able to catch the field without losing a lap, or if they have a quick repair left.
Yeah, the biggest challenge here is very often if you've had to, the way iRacing does this, if your car can't start and you can't make it back to pace speed, then you have to what we call tow back in, like you would see on Sunday at NASCAR, where tow truck comes out, hooks you up, we didn't actually see that graphic of the tow truck coming and hooking up the vehicle, but it basically transports you back to the pit, and then you wait out the time that it would have taken a tow truck to do that, which unfortunately sometimes will impact how quickly you can get back out on the track.
Boy, and I learned the hard way a couple of weeks ago that if you're going to, if that happens and your motor quits and you have to take a tow, if you have a free repair, you better click it before you call for the tow truck, because once you hit the escape button and you go into the tow mode, you come out of it, you're in your pit already, and it's too late to hit that quick repair button. So I hope the guys that needed to do that already knew that, because like I said, I learned the hard way.
We're going to try and get a view at this point from Brian Rainville.
Yes, Sebastian was having a little fun up there trying to blend in with the pace car. Looking at the top 10 right there, you got the 23 truck of Marin, the 25 of Fries, the 48, otherwise known as the 7 of Mohan. You got the 510 of Sanchez in 5th place, the 69 of Wang. You got the 071 of Lori, the 58 of Rimkus, and the 8 truck of Conrad, followed by the last 2 in the top 10, the 90 of Jenkins, and the 39, I think it is, of Crow. Yes,
that is
39.
Correct. Yep.
Eight laps to go right now. Let's see if they're...
Looks like the lights are off on
Okay.
pace car.
So we'll come back to green flag with 7 laps to go. That's enough time for these guys to get wild and crazy.
So interestingly enough, because they were 1 and 2, Sebastian Marin and Kevin Fries are now split outside line to inside line.
Yeah, that's right. And Sebastian's going to have Mohan behind him. James Mohan in the 7 truck, what it looks like there, called the 48. That's been giving me fits all night. But they are not teammates. So see if strategy plays out here. See if Sebastian lets Kevin over in front of him. We see that a lot on Sundays in the Cup racing. We'll see if it happens here.
All right. About to go back to green flag. We're entered turn 4. Sebastian Marin is our control car. Kevin Fries on the outside. You've got James Mohan, Richard Sanchez, Bryant Wang, Aaron Laurie, Mike Rimkus, Dude Conrad, Gary Jenkins, and Jimmy Crow Jr. are your top 10.
Pace car is off. We're going to be hitting the green flag here shortly.
About to enter the Geico restart zone. Here we go. Green, green, green.
Boy, they waited. They did not jump the start on that one. 23 and 25 holding pretty even here.
Seven laps to go.
Sebastian's worked out to about a... Oh, now there we go. We're on the straightaway, and Kevin's making up ground.
If few drivers moving out. There we go. I figured that would happen. Whoa, whoa.
Yep.
Wrecking behind. That was the 4.
Oh dear, that may
Oh, that.
prove to be not a good move. They lost that center line that just fell apart. Got a yellow flag.
Yeah, so let's go
Looks
back
like
to the big
Ford
incident.
truck. Ford truck of is that
Rick Sebrams.
Rick Sebrams?
Yeah, we're just gonna try to go back to see that incident.
And see when that happened. Did it? Oh boy, took out a few.
Okay. Again, this is happening at the front of the pack. We'll try to watch this through. And so Rick got a tap from behind by the 60 of
Yep.
Brian Rainville.
Yeah, just could not gather it back up.
Fortunately, by doing that, he came down into the 46, which collected the 87.
Well, the 88 got a tap, but looks like he was able to save it. Boy, and then everybody else is along for the ride there.
You guys were able to save it and avoid an incident. To jump ahead to Matt Swope because there was something happening in front of him. And he cleared the 171. That's
close.
Robert Rock that
See if you can take a look at the 88 truck of Gabe Butler. He got a tap when Rick Sebrams got real loose there.
Yeah, I think what we're hearing from our radio is that there was a big checkup in that incident, and unfortunately, that's what may have caused it. So we can take a peek. We'll watch the 88.
88's in the outside row here, and when this happens, you'll see that blue truck come up. That's the 4 truck of Rick Sebrams come up and just barely tapped the 88, but at that speed, it got him wicked loose. There's the checkup. He does a great job of trying to save that truck. The 88 just makes it there, and then the 4 gets hit, and he's going to come back up. Right there, just catches him, gets him loose. Both ways, he corrects it, does a masterful job of keeping that truck straight.
Nice, very nice.
Jimmy Crow in the 39 car, he's the leader of this league. He's giving these guys a bit of a talking to.
We're gonna show this. We're gonna take a peek at this right from Brian Rainville's cockpit. You can see this, and we're gonna run it at full speed, and you'll see it.
Oh, this ought to look good.
Back it up just a little bit. All right, here we go.
That checkup, boy.
Yep.
That's a fast wiggle when you play it in real time.
And if you happen to be watching that in Brian Rainville's rear view mirror, you saw not only the checkup but the carnage that happened live behind him.
Yep. Well, iRacing gives us so many good views. You can look at this from any car that you want to. And they just do a masterful job at the programming, the amount of computer programming that goes into this. It just never ceases to amaze me how good the graphics are and how the cars, from what race car drivers tell us, the cars really handle very, very similar to the real life vehicle. And that iRacing just does a great job at putting on this show and giving all of us an opportunity to have fun and race in these cars.
So we are down to 4 laps to go. The lights are off on the pace car. That means one thing, we'll be back to green with 3 laps to go. We could finish this in regulation without having to go to an overtime. We'll see how this all plays out.
Got James Mohan on the inside, the control car, and Sebastian Marin on the outside of the front row. These guys are going to be duking it out to see who can get out in front.
So our top 10 as a scoring pylon shows us, it's Sebastian Marin, James Mohan, Brian Wang, Kevin Fries, Richard Sanchez, Eric Laurie, Gary Jenkins, Duke Conrad, Dean Wilkinson. In 11th, we can show you that is Jorge Rincon, Brian Rainville in 12th, Jimmy Crow in 13th, Zachary Workman, Matt Swope, Gabe Butler, Tracy Weaver, James Mayer, Mark Mann, James Peterson, and Seth Groover. Still on the lead lap, James Peterson, J.D. Crow, Sean Stevens, Robert DuPont, Robert Rock, Rick Seabrans, David Overstreet, Edward Fielder, Randy Miner, and Todd Siebels. That's 30 cars still on the lead lap.
You got Marco Berube that's 1 lap down, and then behind him, Jimmy Crawford, Andy Brigante, Rick McKinney, and then Tom Dixon, 2 laps down.
We are about to go back
off.
to green. About to enter that Geico restart zone. James Mohan is in charge. We are back to green with just 3 laps here to go at Talladega for your Superspeedway Kings and our featured Tuesday night of racing.
Get that 25 car. Kevin Fries giving Sebastian Marin a good push, but now, boy, the inside line got a run there. That third line holding its own with only 2 cars bunched up together. They've got a couple more back there trying to catch them, but that lane's pretty disorganized. I don't see that being much of a threat.
Looks like Matt Swope took an opportunity to jump in that high outside line, try and give those guys a better push. But with coming to this stripe, there'll be 2 laps to go. This is anybody's race. It's all bunched together.
Boy, it is. You got 2 teammates out there on the on that outside line, the 23 and the 25. I have a feeling they're going to stay together as long as they can. And then inside, you've got James Mohan and Brian Wang. They're falling back now. Not quite enough time to clear. '25 doing a great job staying on the 23's bumper.
We're about to come back to take the white flag.
Dude Conrad and Dean Wilkinson in the 8 and the 55 can tuck up there close. They would push them out. He just about has them cleared, and then they go into the corner, and that inside line starts to move forward.
We are on the final lap here at Talladega. We have got a 3-wide battle for first here. The 23 of Sebastian Martin is leading that center line down, but he's definitely got a threat on the outside.
That's inside line has a run.
Oh, we're wrecking, but it does not matter.
This
is it. They've got to make it. This will not bring out a caution.
Oh. Let him run it out. Oh, and that took away the push for the 23 car.
It did. So your winner, James Mohan, in the car number 748 on in the computer scoring. Let's go back and look at that again. I'm not sure what happened in that final incident. Let's see if we can try to bring it back. And there they all go. We can pick out where this starts. Oh, there it is. That's the 071.
That's that much of an angle. I'm going to bet that he got a little bit of help.
Yeah, that looks like it. Let's it's never the first tap, is it? It's always the second one. So let's go back and get behind him. Let's back that up just a little bit.
Yeah, he comes down, going to just clip that left rear corner. Yep, there was the contact.
May not have been
Turned him
completely
down
clear, and then with that coming down, began such a well. It's so unfortunate. A lot of these guys, and we get a fabulous view of what can happen in iRacing.
071 guy, he's got to get his pilot's license to be able to do that, I think.
Heck of a bounce. Heck of a bounce.
Eric Laurie went for a big ride. We'd say he went for a short flight. Wow. Great finish to a great race. I know the guys that ended up all bunched up and banged up and twisted don't think it was a great finish, but what a show for the fans. What a show for the viewers that are watching tonight.
Well, there's your finish. James Mohan in the 48 is your winner. Brian Wang is in second. Sebastian Marin, who we saw lead many, many laps tonight, wound up in a third place finish with Richard Sanchez in fourth. George Cohn in 5th. Dean Wilkinson in 6th. Gabe Butler in 7th. Sean Stevens in 8th. Todd Siebels in 9th. And 10th, Zachary Workman. 11th, Mark Mann. 12th, Robert DuPont III. Jimmy Crow Jr. in 13th. Tracy Weaver in 14th. Rick Seaburns in 15th. Dude Conrad in 16th. James Mayer in 17th. And Robert Rock in 18th. We'll also
I missed my cue there earlier. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
The 19th spot, I think you had J.D. Crow in there in the 5, James Peterson in the 128, followed by Matt Swope in the 68, Edward Fielder in the 111, Gary Jenkins in the 90, Kevin Fries in the 25. That's a shame because he was running right up front there at the end. Mike Rimkus in the 58 in the 25th spot.
26, Brian Rainville, Eric Laurie in 27th, 28th, Seth Groover, 29th, Randy Miner, David Overstreet in 30th, Marco Berube in 31st, Rick McKinney in 32nd, 33 was Jimmy Crawford, Andy Brigant in 34th, 35th was David Bond, Tom Dixon in 36th, 37th is Jack Walls, 38th is Tony Wright, and finally in 39th it was Al Cena.
Yeah, other than those last 3 cars, had everybody running pretty strong at the end. We had a few cars 2 laps down and a few more 1 lap down, but a lot of cars on the lead lap, and that's, I think, again, just a testament to how well these guys drive on these super speedways.
All right, let's see if we can bring in Sebastian into the broadcast booth. Sebastian, welcome to the broadcast booth.
Hi.
Congratulations on your 3rd place finish. That was a wild ride. You were leading so many laps. We thought you were going to have it.
Yeah, me too. That last restart, I was paired up with my teammate Kevin behind me, and we had our other teammate Brian on the bottom. And Kevin miscalculated, so he thought the last lap was coming to the white, so he had already overheated his truck. And when he saw that, he was like, well, there's no point in lifting now, so he kind of knew he was going to blow up early. So he did, coming off of 4, and Brian was just hooked up on the bottom, and I was trying to be like, hey, maybe you should lift and get the team a win, but I mean, at that point, we're all selfish, so I can't blame them for just staying in it and pushing. So yeah, great result for me and for the team.
Well, Sebastian, I had a chance to talk to some of the drivers before the race, and one of them told me he was picking you as his favorite. He said Sebastian wasn't able to be with us last week. You live in Puerto Rico, and you guys had a hurricane come through down there. Everybody okay at home?
Yeah, everybody from my family's doing all right. There's still quite a big chunk of the island that has no power. Some have no water, so we're still recuperating. But yeah, I'm doing fine. Thank you.
All right.
Good.
Any shout outs you'd like to make?
Uh, yeah, I'll give a shout out to my teammates for this race: Kevin, Brian, Bone, Seth Groover, and Duke Conrad. We were working really well together, just having a lot of fun. Just having a good time, not taking the race super serious. It seems like it helps out when you race that way. And I'll give a shout out to you guys for coming on this season and broadcasting this great league. And I'll give a shout out to Jimmy for putting on this league. The racing's been great, so I can't wait to race more.
Sounds great. We look forward to seeing you next week
Good
at
deal.
Daytona.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
All right, that was your third place finisher of Sebastian Marin. Let's try to see if we can bring in our second place winner. That's Brian Wang. Brian, welcome to the broadcast booth.
Hey, what's up?
Not much. Congratulations on your P2.
Thank you.
Tell us how the end of that race ended up shaping up from your angle, Brian.
Yeah, the end of the race was really intense. I was just full on pushing. One of the restarts, I was pushing James on the outside, and we held on there for quite a while. And the final restart, I was able to just push him and keep him on the inside when Sebastian and Kevin was on the outside. And luckily for James, Kevin blew up, and then James got the win. So yeah, good for him on his side.
Well, you guys did an exceptional job getting through some of those messes. It was really interesting to see how there was one group leading, and then when the green flag pit stops, it would juggle a little bit, but it seemed like at the end, some of the guys that had done really well made it back to the front again.
Yeah, at the end, if someone is at the back and they need to make it back up to the front, a lot of it is just luck. If they can just find an opening and if they just can make it through without getting wrecked.
Yeah. Well, great job tonight. Any shout outs you'd like to give?
Yeah, shout out to my teammates this race: Sebastian Marin, Kevin Fries, David Bone, and Dude Conrad, and Seth Groover. And shout out to you guys for broadcasting the race. Shout out to Jimmy, because he does all of the league stuff. And shout out to the rest of Team Bootnaka.
Well, congratulations on your P2 finish. That's Brian Wang. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
All right, I think we've got our winner. Let's bring in James. James, congratulations and welcome to the broadcast booth.
Hey, thanks for having me.
That was a heck of a race. We were going back and forth here trying to figure out who was going to finally win this, with us, especially when those three lines formed up prior to all that drama at the end there. But it was an exciting race just to watch. What was it from your perspective?
Well, it was hectic. We tried to make a run on the third lane and early, but man, it was hectic. So then we just kind of backed the pace off to let it ride out, and we had a long green flag stint that was pretty nice. And it's always fun racing with these guys here.
Oh, we talk about that during the broadcast. We saw that in some of the earlier recruitment or practice races. This group of drivers, yourself included, really make it exciting. I mean, you're clean, you're respectful of each other, you're hard racers and hard chargers, but it's just fun to watch.
Oh, yeah, I can imagine.
It's interesting, James. One of the things that I could see from the broadcast booth, it seemed like the inside lane would always get a run in the corners, and then when they got to the straightaways, that center lane would start making some progress and start getting back up there again. Was it that way from your seat, or which lane did you prefer to be in?
I was just hopefully had a good pusher, but yeah, definitely that middle lane would get the momentum coming off the turn. Then they would get like a good half truck, almost a full truck, and then we would close back up through the turn. So yeah, it was hectic.
Yeah, it makes you not know for sure which lane you want to be in coming to the checkered flag.
Yeah, I knew I was pretty good once I seen Brian was behind me, so I felt pretty good then. And Kevin and Sebastian in the middle, so it was a fight between the pushers.
Yes, it was.
Well, it's fun to watch. Any shout outs you'd like to give out?
Yeah, I'd like to give a shout out to Team Extreme. We've been working hard at these league races, and it's finally nice to get the monkey off our back. Finally got a team win.
Cool. Congratulations on that. That's your winner. James, is it Mohan? Am I saying it correct?
It's Mohan.
Mohan.
All right, we'll note that for future. James,
all right, thanks for having me.
Congratulations, James.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
All right, that was your winner, James Mohan. Let's bring Jimmy Crow into the booth. He can tell us a bit about next week. Jimmy, welcome to the broadcast booth. That was another exciting race here with your drivers.
Yes, sir. They did pretty good. We had that lap 1 caution, and they settled down. I think we had almost a 50-something lap green flag run. Got a little hairy there at the end, but hard racing. I appreciate the guys' effort.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
It was a blast to watch. Again, fabulous examples of green flag racing, door to door, three wide around this track. Just so much fun to watch.
Yeah, they did a good job. I was a little worried when that lap 1 caution came out. I was worried we were gonna have what we had last week, but no, they got it all together and had a good green flag run.
I got a
very
big kick out
very
of it.
pleased with the race.
Oh yeah, it was fun watching it, and I got a kick out of you after that caution on lap 1. You gave those guys a nice, polite talking to, but they knew, hey, we got to settle down here. We got a long way to go, and they did a great job. I mean, that long of a green flag run, that you don't find that often in iRacing.
Especially when they're racing that hard and it is open set. Not everybody's in the same setup. So hats off to them guys. You know, we've had a few rough races. You know, these first 2 have been rough, but we have pretty high standards, and they do such a good job. So we're going to do better. We're going to keep improving. But yeah, hats off to them.
So speaking of that, where are we next week, Jimmy?
We'll be at Daytona.
All right.
Oh, I like it.
A little preview for you folks that are listening. You will have now that just gets even tighter. So you've got a little bit different track. Well, a completely different track, still plate racing. So you've got the same speed, but it's a little narrower, and you've got 3 wide racing. That with these guys, that's a race I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, it should be exciting. We're going to have to hold our line, and we're going to try and put on a show.
Yeah, you got a few more bumps on the Daytona track, and like Rick said, tighter, and handling comes into play. So setups are even more important.
Yeah, most definitely, and that yellow line will bite you. You got to stay off that yellow line because, like I say, you hit that yellow line, it's going to get you. Y'all will probably hear me mention that yellow line pre-race and even during the race because it'll bite you like a snake.
For sure.
Well,
we saw one guy get bit tonight by the yellow line, and you're right, it's even worse at Daytona.
Yeah, definitely not your friend.
All right, that's Jimmy Crow. Jimmy pretty much runs this league and manages and does a fabulous job. He's giving you a little preview of what we've got in store for next week. So next week will be on Tuesday. Again, here with the Superspeedway Kings. We'll be at Daytona, and we're looking forward to it. We hope you join us next week and give us a watch. And if you can, like and follow on the channel that you're watching so we can keep you up to date at what happens here at the IWM Network. Jeff,
Yep, thank you.
any parting words, Jeff?
Oh, I just want to say, Rick, always enjoy calling the races with you. You've got a great knowledge, and what the people at home don't see is how much you've got going on. I mean, I've got a background in television, and I know when you see a NASCAR race on TV, you probably got 20 people, maybe 25 people in the truck, plus people scattered all over the track, and you're doing the job of all of those. So
Well,
you're switching the cameras, you're getting the replays, you're talking. Just a job well done,
Well-
and it's a lot of fun to broadcast with you.
well, thank you very much. And Jeff, you've been a fabulous partner, and I can't wait till next week, and we can do this all over again. So
I am looking forward to it.
I am too. All right, folks, thank you very much for tuning in to the IWM Broadcast Network and the Superspeedway Kings here at Talladega. We hope that you could join us next week. Same bat time, same bat channel, and thanks again for watching.